Good morning. Let's see if we can just shift the camera a little bit so you can see a little bit more of the front garden. I'm just waiting to be collected for an outing, and more than likely my first visit to Flamingo Heights and Lansdowne since I've been back in Cape Town. I arrived back, if you remember, 1 week ago after my journey to India, to Rishikesh, to Dharamshala, 4 days in Delhi in extreme heat, and now 1 week later back home, still unpacking, organizing, and sorting. And also trying to put into perspective what home feels like for me. Where do I feel at home? And trying to find a sense of security in amongst all of this destabilizing energy, and to try and reintegrate myself back into a Western civilization, society, in spiritual terms now, or New Age terms, what we would call the matrix, and how easy it is to fall into old patterns and old limiting belief systems, and having to remind myself when I feel those emotions wanting to take me into that downward spiral, just closing my eyes and remembering the experiences I've had and how I've attuned myself. I have all the tools that I need, and I think it's important for us all to know what those tools are on a daily basis. The word that I've decided to read out of this book, The Song of God, or the Bhagavad Gita, it shouldn't be in any terms or something that I'm enforcing for anybody to read from. It is really your own decision, what fuels you. This is just, in some senses, the way I speak as a metaphor or an example or an encouragement for you to, as an individual, to find what is going to work for you, so that you know when you wake up in the morning, you're going to apply yourself to something that is going to align you with the frequency of God, source, and spirit. And we all have very different tools and techniques, and usually it does have to do with cleaning. It has to do with purging. And so the breath can work for that. Any kind of contemplative prayer and meditation can work for that. Visualizations and using your imagination, even mantras and repetitive phrases or affirming phrases can help you just to reset your energy. What else has happened to me this week? And how am I feeling in general about this insecurity? Can I see the things that have brought me here not as sacrifices, but as part of a whole and a holistic training ground for me? And can I finally take these tools and apply them in whatever manner necessary to create movement, like a generator? I believe we all have that ability to create from nothing. Right, let's do this reading. I'm easily attainable by that ever steadfast yogi who constantly and daily remembers me, not thinking of anything else, O Partha. Having attained me, these great souls do not again take birth in this world, which is impermanent and the place of pain. They have reached the highest perfection. If a man thinks of God constantly and daily, a double emphasis, he will automatically think of him in the last hour too. All devotees of the Lord recognize the near impossibility of governing one's own last thoughts. One devotee actually prayed in pathetic and pleading tone, "Oh Lord, may my mind enter your lotus feet right now, for who knows what it will think of when my throat is choked in the last hour of my life." This is specifically true these days when sudden and violent accidents and heart attacks snatch life away. Well, when I hear that saw in the background, I think that's just come into the phrase at the perfectly right time, because there are so many crazy ways that people have left our earth, isn't there? Especially true these days when sudden and violent accidents and heart attacks snatch life away. Be careful over there with those power tools. Without notice, it's happened to people that I know. Just out of the blue. Too young, too healthy, too much going for them. Therefore, it is all the more important to be ever God conscious, so that even if the last moment were untimely, the mind would by habit think of God and reach Him. Let the mind of the yogi sit here unwavering. For the sound that wasn't welcomed here. Is that because I maybe didn't invite God's source and spirit? Let's invite God's source and spirit. Maybe his phone will ring and he'll have to stop with the power tools. Desire and karma, which together constitute the state of inner being called bhava, determine the next incarnation. When ignorance-born desire and ego, engineered activity or karma cease, then, freed from these shackles, the soul awakens from the slumber of ignorance and, shaking off the dream state of bondage, regains self-knowledge. Once the individualized consciousness has become totally merged with the cosmic consciousness, there is no return to this world of pain and impermanence. It is like throwing a bucket of water into a lake. That same water can never be retrieved. Lord Buddha's life teaches us that pain and suffering exist in this world in order to remind us of a state of being in which these shall not be, and to lead us to that state. To lead us to a state where there shall not be pain and suffering. Well, I'm going to take that power tool, that saw, as a sign that, yes, we're living in a pretty harsh life right now. Sometimes our headaches feel that way. Ever persistent. The ever persistent nagging. It does drown out the sound of the birds that I wanted you to enjoy. But this is what it is. This is where we are. We're in life. So, thank you for being here with me this morning. It is what it is. The divine in me honors the divine in you. Namaste. God bless you.